evening, ladies and gentlemen. We are on the Creative Perceptions podcast. We have a repeat client or guest, or, so to speak. So we're excited to get that started. We actually have the CEO and founder of DLRPDS and the creator of the new 1090 podcast, which is coming soon to how should I say it? Coming soon to a network to you, or coming soon to Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube, you name it, it is coming. We have none other than David Rogers, who's here to talk to us today about nutrition. How are you doing, sir? How's everything going?
Everything's going good, living life, loving life. And but joy.
I love to hear it. So again, we kind of gave a short bio. Mr. Rogers has been in the Marines, so he served our country. He's been working for the state of Virginia for over 20 years. And now he's in his own business venture, creating that generational wealth and that Black timeline of Black business. So we love to hear it. DLRPDS is comprised of three components, whether it's nutrition, fitness, and human resources. So originally when it was started, he focused more on the fitness portion of it, and now he's starting to branch off to the other two, which is very important, nutrition and human resources. So as we get started with today, the first part of the podcast, as you're not really a guest anymore because you've been here already, but let's start off with the questions. Why nutrition? Why is nutrition important?
Zach, well, nutrition is very important because if we really think about it, we can't live a healthy life without nutrition. What I mean by that, what you eat, that's going to say what you are. What you eat tells how much energy you have, how you sleep, how the brain works. So I'm just trying to provide some information on nutrition to our community, and some of my clients, which is in community churches, is trying to provide information to help them live a healthy life so they can live longer. But nutrition basically, like I say, it's many different things you can eat, things like that, but trying to help them to eat healthy food so they can live a longer life.
So before we dive into the crux of the actual interview, why is it important? Let's say we have people that work out, gym, basketball, football, equestrian, lacrosse, tennis, foosball, whatever. Why is it important that why does your diet have to match your actual physical activity? Because a lot of people will think, oh, I work out all the time, and yeah, I ate that Hardee's or that KFC or that Popeyes, but I'm working out. Why do the two have to coincide, and why is it important that your diet has to match your workout regimen?
Absolutely, because that's a good question you asked, because without getting nutrition, think if you had a Mercedes-Benz and you had a Ford Taurus car. You're going to put regular gas on a Ford, in a Ford car. You would never put regular gas in a Mercedes-Benz. You put that premium gas in there because it performs better. So the better type of food we eat, which is eating our fruits, our vegetables, our grains, and our proteins, that gives us better fuel. So if I go ahead and walk 3 steps by eating a candy bar, drinking a diet soda, I might walk 2 feet. If I got good food in my body, I can perform longer and perform better. So you'll see a lot of your athletes, name those sports you just named, you'll see a lot of those athletes, they actually have people on their team that prepares their meals, because, if you play basketball, that first quarter, everybody got that energy. But you get to that fourth quarter, boy, and you're playing 40 minutes, that makes a difference. So it gives you better fuel in your body so you can perform better. It also helps you fight things like infections, high blood pressure, and things like that in your body. You can't perform if you got all these illnesses. So it just gives you that fuel. I call it that premium fuel, so you can perform better, you can think better, you can move better, and you're in a better positive attitude. A lot of people say they're not morning people. That's because a lot of people don't eat breakfast, or what they ate bad that night, that's what they burn that morning. But they say, I'm just not a morning person. No, it's the type of food you put in your body that makes you perform that way. And I always tell people this: imagine if you want to live a healthy life. We always praise God or whoever you believe in, saying thank you for this meal. But if you're putting candy, sodas in your body, you're kind of taking your own life by doing it with a spoon or fork or a cup. Don't help dig your own grave. Put food in your body that helps you perform at a high level.
Yeah. So we just, a lot of people, unfortunately, I've been guilty of this myself. A lot of people gained a lot of weight during the pandemic.
Yeah.
How do you motivate yourself now that we're out of the pandemic to get yourself out of that hole, change your nutrition? Because the reality is, wasn't much we could do as much grocery shopping as we could, but we were in the house most of the time. And when you can't do much, you go back to old tendencies or you create new habits. How do you get yourself out of that COVID hole, so to speak, for nutrition and working out?
Absolutely. And my clients, I give them a lot of quotes. And I just some of the things you just named was, and I always tell them be strong in your excuses because we using COVID, standing in the house. That's true, but your nutrition, your weight, and all that starts with nutrition. It doesn't start with exercise. What you put in your body is what you're gonna put on that extra weight or whatever. But what nutrition then the exercise just helps you intensify the speed of where you can get that weight off. So I would tell people to get motivated. It starts with your attitude. You have to change your mindset first. If my mindset is, well, I'm going to work out today, but tomorrow I'm gonna wake up, I'll make up for it on Wednesday. You got to have a positive mindset on a consistent basis. So I can give you all the nutrition plans, fitness plan. If you don't believe in yourself that you're going to be consistent to that process, you're not going to be faithful to it. So just changing your mindset. Start out simple. Don't try to say I'm gonna stop eating. I'm just become a vegetarian tomorrow if you eat meat every day. That's not realistic. Say I'm gonna just cut back one day. I might not eat bad food and just gonna eat food 6 days a week. Just start with small goals and then go to big goals. But everybody fall. That's like you said. I fall to one of my favorite foods is fried chicken. But we know that skin on the fried chicken, that's the worst part of the chicken. But we put that hot sauce on that chicken, it makes it the best chicken in the world. And
Right.
then later we feel like, oh man, can barely breathe. So it's just being motivated, change your mindset, and being disciplined to the process.
Absolutely. So you mentioned one thing that I heard from your answer. Going cold turkey is not always the answer. Can you please reassure or explain to the people that may be watching out in the masses why cold turkey doesn't work for everybody? I
Right,
love how you hit on that.
right. Because going cold turkey or going without, you never heard me say the word diet. First of all, the three letters are DIE, die. So when you diet, you're cutting out certain things in your body that your nutrients your body needs. So if you go, let's say you go cold turkey for 20 days. On that 21st day, you're gonna get that, man, I sure gotta have a taste for this. What you gonna do? Instead of eating one piece of candy, you might eat 5 pieces. Now you're getting all these carbs. Carbohydrates is not good for you, like your sugar and candy. And when you eat a lot of sugar, it's like this: you up and down, and you want more because most of your fat comes from your sugar and your starches. So you want to eat the right type of food groups all throughout that process so you don't go cold turkey. So that's why I tell people the first thing I tell somebody to do is start with portion control. Eat what you eat, log what you eat. If you eat 3 pieces of chicken, try to cut it to 2 pieces of chicken. If you eat a bowl of rice, try to cut it to a cup of rice. So that way you're not just taking everything at your diet, you're just making a small increments of what you eat. So that's what I tell people. Don't try to go cold because I'm telling you, you're gonna get to that day you're gonna crave something. Behavior plays a great role in what we do because if like me, when I'm sitting at home looking at Netflix, the best thing to do is have some chips or something to eat along with that. That's a behavior issue. So you gotta get that tendency to say, okay, instead of having the potato chips, I'm gonna have some carrots or something like that. But I just can't cut it out altogether. Or if I have potato chips, I count out 7 potato chips and just eat those 7. It was hard to do, but I don't just take the potato chips away altogether. But I found in my research and the clients I've had, if you just start out with portion control, you'll start to limit stuff in your own diet, gradual process instead of just trying to go cold turkey all at once.
Love it. Thank you. So you mentioned quotes, and then before we started this interview, you gave me a quote. So when I read this quote out to you that you gave me, tell me what's the first thing that comes to mind, or tell me what your thought process is in using this quote. Nutrition is not just about eating; it's about learning to live. Can you elaborate on that?
Absolutely. If you have any type of medical issue, blood pressure, cholesterol, diabetes, and you're eating these types of food, you just enhancing the problem. If you don't have those problems and you continue to eat it over time, your body's going to build up. It's going to build up. Our body has veins in it. When we eat food, it starts out in a solid process. Then when we chew it, it breaks down to little solids and to little liquid forms where it can go through our arteries and the veins. So if you're getting cholesterol and fat buildup now, our arteries are getting clogged up. It's hard for me to breathe. I'm impacting my liver and my internal organs. So if you eat healthy, you'll live a longer life. And sometimes, like for example, I'm 57 years old. I was in the military. In the military, you eat certain types of food because you have to perform. Athletes, they eat certain types of food to perform. But you notice somebody retire, what's the first thing you notice about them? They put on a lot, a lot of weight because they not doing that regimen they was doing before. But sooner or later, you're gonna have to come up like me when I turned 57. I said, hold up, I'm starting to put on weight. When I eat, it feel like I can't breathe after I eat. Well, I got to take breath in. That's not good because something going in your body that's not right. So the badder you eat, you're taking less in your own life. So instead of living 50 years, you might only live 30 years. Don't take that chance. That's why I say, if you're gonna die from something, don't you be the cause of it.
That's when you say that, it makes more sense. That puts it in perspective, doesn't it? Next question.
Exactly.
I love the answer that you gave. What is a registered dietitian, especially for the Black and Brown community that may not have access to this type of resource or knowledge, or we may just not understand, or we may not just have access to that information? What is a registered dietitian?
That's a great question. I'm a nutrition specialist. So basically what I do is I take information. If somebody, let's say you go to your doctor and you say, hey, I want to get on a weight plan. I want to change the way I eat. A registered nutrition will take your blood work. They'll check your cholesterol. They'll check all the parts of your body to see what food groups you can eat. Some people are allergic to certain foods. A
Absolutely.
nutrition is going to be able to read your lab, we call it lab work, your blood work, and say, hey, these are the type of foods you can eat. These are the foods you need to stay away from. This is the type of exercise that goes with this food. They just make sure whatever your food you're eating, it works with your body. Like some people are, you heard people talk about gluten-free all the time.
Absolutely.
Gluten-free is when you get a lot of grains in your body, but you need certain grains in your body. They just get an overwhelming of it. So just because if I don't have that problem, eating gluten-free food is not going to change nothing in me. So, but that registered nutrition can tell me, hey, you can eat this food, you can't eat this. But these are the type of, you can't eat regular peanut butter, eat peanut butter that don't have a lot of oils in it. So they just tell you, hey, these are the things that you should be eating based on what our assessment of you. These are the foods that you should be eating as a registered nutrition. A dietitian nutrition does the same thing. A dietitian just can say, hey, like in a hospital, a dietitian fix all those meals for those patients. They look at the patient's health record and say, hey, this is the diet that we can give this person. If you've ever been in the hospital, that is the cleanest food you will ever eat because they're not going to give you a lot of preservatives like salt, pepper, sugar, and all that. You're gonna get that basic meal with nothing. So that's what a dietitian does. They give you the bland food, but they give you food that whatever medical problem you have or what you're allergic to, they don't give you that, but they give you the foods that works for your body. That's what a registered nutritionist does. And a nutritionist coach, what I do is take that information and say, okay, we know you can eat these foods, so let's look at these food groups, whether it's the fruits, vegetables, grains, or protein, and we'll give you these foods right here to go with your program. And then we'll say, okay, this is the amount you should eat, because the amount you eat depends on whether you're trying to have a calorie deficit or you're trying to put on weight. So that's what the difference is between a registered nutrition and a nutritionist coach.
Okay.
And it's deeper than that. That's just the overview.
Okay. So a registered dietitian is actually scaling back the actual measurements of your food, and a nutritionist is actually telling you what you should and shouldn't eat, right?
Right. And then nutrition tell you these foods you can eat and these foods you cannot eat based on whatever medical condition you got or if you're allergic to something.
Okay. So next question. What is a certified nutrition and wellness specialist? And can you list some of the benefits of eating healthy that goes along with those two roles?
Yeah, well, a resident nutritionist wants to say they can help you prepare those meals. A specialist can say, if you say, I don't like this food, okay, well, the nutrition said you can have these foods from this group. Let's say I'm just gonna make an example. They say you can have apples, grapes, and melon. So let's do melon today, let's do cantaloupe tomorrow, and let's do grapes the next day. We'll help you put a plan, because some people, I can eat the same food 7 days a week. Some people can't eat the same food every day. Depends on your budget. Depends on, a lot has to do with your budget and your taste. So that the nutrition specialist say, okay, these are the foods you're going to eat. Now, like for example, you say you want to put on weight and lift a lot of weights, we're going to give you more protein and carbohydrates to go with that, because that gives you more fuel and energy. Fruits are good for you because they're a complex carb, which means they got some sugar where you don't have these spikes where you go up and drop down. It just keeps you from having an appetite, but it gives you those nutrients in your body that helps with your micronutrients and things like that, like your vitamin A, vitamin C, vitamin D, and things like that.
Okay, so I'm gonna throw a little curveball in here.
Okay.
You know, in the Black and brown community, we have a lot of entertainment that kind of
Yeah.
hyper is a hyper extension or hyper intensifies like certain aspects in the community. Like, of course, we love our fried chicken, watermelon. We love our Kool-Aids and things of that nature. If you've seen They Clone Tyrone
Yeah.
or Soul Food or any of those black movies that kind of personify our culture stereotypically, how are ways that we can break that? And then what are some alternatives that we can eat that still satisfy the soul, so to speak, and that are good, but they won't kill us in the long term?
Right. And sometimes food is based on your culture.
Mhm.
Like if you go, like if I live in Richmond, Virginia, so you go downtown to I'll just say where the black people live at, you have certain stores that sell certain things. Like
Absolutely.
you go on a 7-Eleven, they're gonna serve the fried chicken and cook it in the same grease 9 times. You might go to another fried chicken, another place like what's the one Dorian eats all the time? Chick-fil-A.
Uh-huh.
Chick-fil-A chicken, you've never go to Chick-fil-A and see grease dripping from their chicken because
Nope.
they're going to use a different type of grease, whether it's with olive oil or corn oil, they're going to use a different type of grease.
Mhm.
So that remember, because that grease is in that chicken and the skin is what's the bad thing about the chicken.
Ah.
So in our brown community, we like things like the pizza and things like that. But when you eat that pizza, you got all the pepperoni, all the cheese. You go to
Mhm.
like a whole food area where they sell health food. They got a pizza, but it's got made out of whole grains. They're gonna put things like your green peppers and just things like that on the pizza, not all that cheese and all that stuff. So it's a lot of it has to do with what you can afford in your neighborhood. But once
Mhm.
again, if the pizza is bad, eat one slice instead of getting the whole pizza. But to answer your question, how we can do better is first we need to know what the food groups are and
Mhm.
how much, if I eat this, how many calories am I going to gain from eating a piece of pizza? How many calories do I get from drinking a soda? How many calories do I get from eating a cake? So, if you get, I'm just making up something, if you get 500 calories from a slice of pizza, maybe you want to eat half of that piece and cut that calorie in half because the more calories you get, that's the more weight you put on, that's the more you increase your chances for diabetes and also get fat and adding fat to your body and cholesterol and things like that. So it's just understanding the food groups. Something as simple as, and I always do this when I go to the grocery store. If you look on the back of a label and it has about 10 things on the back of that label, anything that's in oats or saturated fat or trans fat, those are not good for you. They stick to those arteries and they close that artery up, where it makes it bad for your organs to function right. So, first of all, educating our black and brown community on, hey, these are good foods, these are bad foods. Because everything that's good for you don't taste good. Everything that's bad for you to taste good ain't good for you. So they just need to understand that. But if you go in most of our black and brown neighborhoods, you look at the type of stores they have in there. And grocery stores is a setup anyway. What's the first thing you see walking in a grocery store? They got all the chips, all the candy on the cashier's aisle. Every
Yep.
aisle has that on there. And then they go, and all the good food is back because they try to get your attention to get those food. You get 4 bags of potato chips for $4. But look at all the cholesterol you buy for $4 instead of getting the um, low fat potato chips, which don't have good taste to it. So they put these things in front of us so it attracts our attention to it. And what's the first thing we do when we go in the store? Man, they got a sale on 4 bags of potato chips for $5. Yeah, but it's got trans fat. It's got 80 grams of trans fat in each bag, and you put that in your body. And I laugh at sodas. I always tell the story. A lot of people like sodas like Pepsi. You can take Pepsi, put on a battery. If your battery has acid on it, you pour that Pepsi on the battery cable, it makes the acid dissolve. What do you think that does to your to your stomach lining and to your intestine?
Mhm.
It's to your liver. But we drink it, especially the dinosaurs.
Yep.
So it's just educating our people on what foods can we eat, what foods are good for us, and how many calories we get from the types of food we eat.
Okay. I love that. You kind of touched on it earlier about some of the factors that eating can bring upon you, whether it's positive or negative. Really quickly, list if you could describe some of the factors that influence our eating behaviors.
Um, And I'm going to talk to the males, the sport fan. Who watches a football game without something to munch on? It's
Right.
going to be, and you know what the number one thing is? Those chicken wings. One chicken wing has about 1,500 calories in one chicken wing. Chicken nuggets, that pure fat, grease, and all that in chicken nuggets. They're good. You can get 20 for $5, but that's $5 to help kill yourself. But we're gonna have that, and then the men with the alcohol. That they said Bud Light tastes great, Coors tastes good, but look at the calories. You're getting about 120 calories from each a 12-ounce beer. I don't care what brand it is, a 12-ounce beer. So you got the chicken wings, you got the pizza, you got the beer, and then if you a junkie where you like M&M's and all that, you add all that. So for our entertainment, we like to eat that. When people get stressed, some people eat because they get stressed. They'll come home. Well, I'm just gonna sit here for a minute and then just start munching. And like I said, for me, Netflix. I mean, how you eat Netflix without eating something? It's like being at the movies for what series you watch all the time. But we're steady eating all the time. And sometimes, for example, I stop drinking for a minute. When you stop drinking, your body starts to crave something else. So like my body would crave sweets. I don't even eat sweets, but that body craves something because once again, it needs those carbs, the bad carbs. So it needs something to fill that spot. And next thing you know, we're eating something else. And we don't eat in moderation. And once again, fill the bowl up and we just keep eating, keep eating. So the culture, the sporting events, boredom, and some people just love to eat. And they got certain foods that they love to eat, but they don't understand what's in those foods they eat. So
Well,
those are some.
how do you eliminate? You mentioned talking about the cravings that you get when you get rid of when you stop drinking and things like that. You talk about the sweets. What do you replace to fill that is actually good for you?
That's a good question. Number one thing you should be replacing that is with water. What is the number one mineral that our body, nutrient that our body needs?
Mm-hmm.
You can go 12 days or more without food. Your body cannot go more than 4 days without water because water is just like putting in your car. If you had a radiator, you put that water in your body, it allows your body to function by taking all the nutrients you eat to travel throughout your body from head to toe. So you got to have that water. So I use water as a filler. I mean, once your stomach gets filled, it ain't got the room for so much things. Then you just got to start creating new habits. So what I do, let's say you got carrots. I put them in a little bag and I sit there and munch on them. Once you start to do something long enough, you start to acquire the taste for it. Some people take a little longer. So if I'm eating popcorn, just do popcorn with no butter. If you're going to eat potato chips, just do the potato chips don't have all that fat and grease in them. All you got to do is look at the labels on the back. If you go do chicken wings, just take chicken breasts, cook them and chop them up. Put your little pepper, a little sauce on them. It just ain't got that skin on it. But we condition to tell ourselves we have to have that skin, no. But you got to teach yourself to do that, or do 2 chicken wings and take that chicken breast and do about 8 of those, so that outweighs those 2 chicken. We call that the 80-20 because 80% we should be healthy. 20% we know we're not going to. 20% okay, we mess up sometimes, so that's our 20%. But your good should always be the 80. Your bad food should be the 20. It shouldn't be 100% all bad food or 20% good food, 80% bad food. It should be 80% good food and 20% bad food. Well, once again, like I said earlier, you got to progress yourself to that. So when you're doing the potato chips, let's say I use my hand, I got a handful of carrots, I got about 5 potato chips. Eat the carrots first, then it may help you eat less potato chips. And that goes back to that behavior you got. That's where that self-discipline come in. I mean, I watch shows like The Biggest Loser. They'll be on that show for 3 months, lose all that weight. You check on them 6 months later, they'll put all that weight back on. Plus, because when you're doing that show, you got a coach standing there with you every day telling you when not to eat. So you have to change your behavior and say, hey, I got to have self-discipline to do this. And just start in small steps. Don't just try to do it all at one time. Just add little small steps and keep building on those small steps. But once again, if you don't change your mindset, at me as a coach, wellness coach, no matter what I tell you, when you get in that room by yourself, that's when the truth comes out. But consistency in doing that is the key. And just have a plan. I'm going to eat this amount of this every day. And that's why I like giving my clients a log book so they can log and be honest with themselves and log everything they eat. They eat 5 Snicker bars, put 5 Snicker bars, try to cut that to 4 the next day. You know what I'm saying? And because you got to think in your mind, okay, this is only helping me enhance my longevity of living.
Absolutely. So you kind of touched on the next question of what will help you be successful with clean, healthy eating. You touched on what is healthy eating. You touched on the 80-20 factor. So I'm gonna go backwards in the interview where you kind of touched about the nuances, especially of like you kind of alluded to and you kind of covered. Okay, it's easier to spend more money on junk versus health. Why
Right.
is it that it costs more money to eat healthy versus it's cheaper to eat dirty? Why do you think that is?
Because the dirty food, it has a lot of processed stuff in it. So I can bring a bag of chocolate chip cookies all the way from China, and they got so many preservatives in it, they can be in on the ship for 30 years. You can bring it with the preservatives you can bring in. And the whole food, which is food that don't have all the preservatives in it, this is just most natural food. They're more expensive because people don't buy a lot of it. So it's just like anything that you buy. Demand decides what the price is going to be. So, people are going to buy the food that they like. Like the example, if you go in the store and think about it this way: if you see a bag of Oreo cookies in the store and one bag costs $10, you get 10 cookies, and you got another bag that costs $4 and you get 50 cookies. Which one do you think they're gonna buy? They're gonna buy the bag that got the 50 cookies in it. Base, well, depends on their money. Or if the person got money, they'll buy 5 of the bags that got the 10 cookies in it. So once again, it's just understanding. Okay, understanding what I'm eating, and whether I got the money or not, I got to make a decision. What's more healthy for my body? Because the store's always going to sell it because they do a lot of studies. They studied just like we do our census report. What do you think they do that census report? It tells, okay, we're going to put a grocery store in this area. We're going to put this type of store in this area. Where I live at, that's not a whole food store, but I can go up the street. That's all they got is healthy eating stores.
Hmm.
Depends on who the customers in their area and what they're buying. So a lot of that has to do with the location and what the demand is for food. But you have those same choices in the store. They might just have a little shelf right here with that, but they're gonna have that big shelf first when you first walk in the store. They're gonna have them on the little cashier's aisle, like I said. They'll have cookies on every aisle, but they got a cookie aisle because they know that everybody's gonna buy those cookies. There's always a deal. You can take $1 and say it's 99 cents, and another brand could be a better brand than $1, but people gonna buy the 99 cents for that 1 penny because they think it in their mind that's a sale. But you get those cookies that's got all those bad nutrients in it. Well, I
Absolutely.
wouldn't call it, I call it ingredients, not nutrients, because it's not benefiting your body.
So it's more about accessibility and then it's about socioeconomic
Exactly.
backgrounds. Okay.
Exactly. Right. Right.
Okay. So we're at the end. This is a great conversation, and I anticipate another segment because this is a
Absolutely.
series. You're the first series of this podcast, so shout out to you. But to
Mhm.
close out the night, why should clients come to DLRPDS Nutrition and Support?
Mhm. Well, first of all, I think clients should go to any person that's going to be a fit for them. And what my goal is not to really make a lot of money. You need money to function your operation, but I want to see each individual succeed in what they're trying to do. Because it's not about me at DLRPDS, it's not about me, it's about the individual. So we try to provide them with that VIP service where we try to meet their needs. I work out every day. I don't expect somebody to eat. I don't eat right every day, but I eat different foods, but I don't expect them to come in and do what I do every day. So we try to meet our clients where they're at to help them grow. And we try to support them, whether it's through in-person meetings or just call them, say, hey, you can do it. And we also believe in being honest with the person. But it has to be a fit because some trainers' personality don't match with other people's personality. But we understand that it's not about us, it's about the client. And we truly want to help our people in our community. For example, if you got a brother, hey, I hope you go tell your brother about nutrition. He go tell his sister or his mother so we can better build our community because we go to our jobs, we invest in our jobs every day. We give them 100% and we give
Mhm.
ourselves 20%. Makes no sense because without you, you can't do that 100% your job anyway.
Mhm.
So we just try to help people. We try to help them mentally. We're not mental health experts. We just try to help them believe in themselves and understand they have to hold themselves accountable. We try to help them understand to eat right. You eat right, you'll feel right, you'll do right. And exercise goes along with that to help you, whether you want to lose weight, gain weight, or change the way you look. We try to give them a plan like that. But we try to work with the individual to meet them where they're at. That's the main thing we try to do. And I'm passionate about what I do, and I believe in what I do, and I try to share that through my clients. And in the clients we have, that's what we try to do with them to make them feel that they're part of the DLRPDS team.
All right, there you have it. So, before I let you go, it kind of sounded like, all right, if I'm somebody who wants to improve my nutritional dietary plans, if I'm somebody who's struggling, if I'm somebody who's a novice, beginner, or advanced, sounds like I can reach you or be access or be a part of the team if I'm virtual too. Was that something that you were confirming? Like I don't have to be in Virginia to get your services. Is that true?
Well, absolutely, we have a hybrid training, which means we do virtual, in person. So absolutely.
Okay.
It
All
is.
right. So again, we'll be back for the next segment. But again, everybody, this is DLRPDS, threefold fitness, nutrition, and human resources. Today we covered nutrition, and we'll be back for more. Again, thank you, DLRPDS, also known as Mr. Rogers, David Rogers. He's going to be launching his podcast soon, the 1090 podcast. We thank you for hopping on. And again, don't forget to support Black and Brown owned businesses. It is
Absolutely.
National Black Owned Business Month for the month of October, for the month of August, excuse me. And we look forward to hosting you soon. Again, go support, check this out, and we look forward to seeing you in the future. Have a good night, everybody.